just got the call for my bag. I'm so happy. Hey you guys, so as you all just saw, I went in the store and got my Birkin. That was over 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to talk a little bit about how I got to that point where I got offered a Quota bag and show you guys the bag again up close. So if you guys saw my LA vlog, I obviously wore the bag out a lot. I've worn it to a few parties, so it's not an unboxing. But here it is. And just to reiterate, the color is Baton or Baton. It is in the French accent, and it has gold hardware. And this is a Birkin 25 in Togo leather. So here she is. So a bit of a story time because people have been asking about pre-spend, consistency, how the offer came to be. So I'm going to give a little background on that. So I started, the first time I ever went to Hermes period was in London years ago, and I think I just got a Click H bracelet that I don't even know where that is anymore, to be honest with you guys. But the Click H bracelet, like I said, I don't even know where it is, and the London store is completely different. I don't know if I even like the vibes there, but for some reason I never went in Atlanta. So going to London was the first time I ever really went into the store, but the next time I went that was kind of significant was this summer in Paris, or the summer of 2025. I went and got my finesse pendant, and I got a black picotin in, I forget the leather, but it was a black picotin with gold hardware. And I think I got a few other little things, but I don't remember. And so when I got home from that trip, I was like, okay, maybe I should start going to my home store. Like, I don't know why I never go in there. I was mainly like a shopper of Chanel. I just never was like a big Hermes girl at that point. But I was like, with the price of these Chanel flaps, it's basically the same price of a Birkin. So I want to start working towards getting one. So I went to the store in Atlanta, I think whenever I got back from my trip, so sometime in August or even late July, most likely it was August. And I got a few, I got an Oran, and then I got the Chypres. So I got those items with someone that is not my current SA, but I was just going to the store and feeling it out. Oh, and I also got a Kelly belt in black and gold. So I started to go to the store, feel it out, and that other SA, she was really sweet, but we just didn't click. So another time in late August, I wanted to get an Apple Watch band because I had like, I don't know if you guys seen the Forever Chemicals in the Apple Watch bands from actual Apple. So I was like, hell no, basically. Like, I don't want the Forever Chemical Apple Watch band. So I was like, okay, let me just go get a real leather Apple Watch band from Hermes, which is this one. It's so dirty and the leather is so damaged and not tarnished, but it's just very messed up because I wear this to hot mat. I use it for daily use. Like, so much sweat has been around this leather band. Like, I don't think it's meant for that, but I'll just replace it like later on because I'm just getting good use out of it. But anyway, I bought this Apple Watch band in August with my current SA. And So for those of you that know about the Atlanta store just reopened in last year in Phipps Plaza instead of being in the shops of Buckhead. So it's a little bit bigger, and they expanded like that side of the mall. Like there's a food hall, a new gym, like new Christian Louboutin, Balmain, Jimmy Choo, all those new things along with Hermes came in that wing of the mall. It just so happens that I go to the gym that's basically in the same wing as Hermes. So it's very easy for me to stop in after the gym or before on a daily basis. So I started going pretty consistently and picking up little things here and there. So when I was in Paris, that's when the Fendle craze had restarted a bit, and at that time I wasn't an Hermes shopper, so I didn't know that you can just walk in and get a Fendle. So while I was in Paris, I did walk in and try to get one. Of course, they told me I couldn't get one because it's such a long wait list and they didn't have any blah, blah, blah. So that's why I ended up getting this instead. But when I got home and I established my, relationship with the second essay that I got this Apple Watch band with, I let her know that I wanted to get the Fendle, and if they have it, I'd like to purchase. Of course, she told me they don't have it, but I could get on the wait list. So I got on the wait list for the 120 cm and the 160 cm. And, after the gym or before the gym or just, throughout the weeks, I would stop in and say, I'll say, hey, how are you doing? Any update on the Fendles? And she would be like, oh, okay, like you're person 6 out of 12 on the 120, or you're 9 out of 20 on the 160, and things like that. So I'll be like, okay, it's moving along. Like I felt like it was taking a while, but in retrospect, it really wasn't taking a while. So, yeah. Okay. I think this is a slightly better view. Here's a slightly better view of me in the back. Okay, so, I'll go in every couple days and ask it, or not every couple days, maybe once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever, and ask about the Fendle. But I'm a very consistent person, so it's like, and I'm also a shopaholic. So I would go in, ask about the Fendle. Maybe I wouldn't get something, maybe I would. Maybe I'll get a cup or a pillow or, different little things. So over time, I didn't feel like me and my essay, we definitely did click, but it wasn't like we were besties upon the first meeting. So I'm not gonna say that you should feel like that with the first time you shop, but we definitely grew our relationship, and even I would say a friendship, even though I know it's business, but outside of Hermes, I feel like we would be friends because we talk about things that have nothing to do with Hermes while we shop. But let me get back to the Fendle story. So one of the days, I was doing a little bit of shopping. I went to this other store that's in Atlanta, and I got some Ginori mugs because I'm a huge fan of Ginori porcelain, and I do buy it, and I am building my Ginori collection. And I was in a mode to get stuff for my home only, so I stopped at Hermes after I picked up my mugs, and I randomly mentioned it to my essay, and her face lit up because she's also a huge Ginori fan. And we were talking about that. I got a little bit of Hermes porcelain, and I think I got one of my pillows. So, and then also that day, I got my Fendle as well because she checked the list and they had it. And I could tell she was so excited that she was able to get it for me because it's been so hard to get. And she was just happy. Like, we had a fun moment, we had a hug. Like, I felt like after that day, we were a little bit closer. So I got my Fendle, and after that I stayed consistent. And I guess the wait for that wasn't too bad. People asked me how long it took me to get that. So I started going in August, and I believe I got it going in August, and I got my Fendle November 22nd. So that's not the worst thing ever. But like I said, I was on the wait list for both, and I ended up getting the 160 centimeter, which I'm so happy I did because I think I prefer it over the 120 because it's a little more versatile. But anyway, so after that, I stayed consistent. I kept going in. there was other little things that I wanted, like home things, blankets, pillows. I didn't always buy something like if things weren't working out, but you know, I still do have like a pretty strong purchase history. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the pre-spend, which I know people do really care about, just because I don't want to put myself on blast. But it was over 2 to 1. But I do not think that is the sole reason I got a bag. So I know people talk about the pre-spend ratio, and it is a factor, like they do take it into account, but I genuinely think it's your relationship with your SA, her willingness to advocate for you with, you know, the manager and the store and all those things. And of course you need to have like a healthy spend and a healthy account. But I would never buy stuff that you don't want. Like everything that I bought, I use it and love it. And I was gonna buy it anyway because, as I said, I am a bit of a shopaholic. So it just made sense for me. So leading up to the actual days that I got offered my bag, the day before, I went in to place an order for, it's not a special order, but it's like a, it's, okay, I forget the technical name, but it's not a special order and it's not custom, but it's like a order that you can place like to get shoes that are customized or exotic. So I'll unbox those when I eventually get them. They take like 5 to 6 months, but when I was in New York, I saw some pink croc orans and I was like, oh my gosh, these are so gorgeous. Like they are the perfect shoe. But I hate orans. Like I honestly feel like I should sell the orans that I have because I never wear them and I only have 2 pairs. I would honestly sell one of them because they're just so uncomfortable, and then I don't know why they just don't fit my feet well. So I always get the Oasis like when they're available, but the store in New York did not have them available. So I texted my SA. I was like, I'd love to get these pink croc orans in Oasis, and she was like, okay, when you come back we can like order that shoe and we can like go through the list of colors and leathers and see what you really want to get. So I was like, okay, that sounds good. So when I got back, you know, she brought out the list of colors. Of course, the pink color that I wanted isn't on the list for 2026 spring and summer. So I was like a little disappointed, and I was like, maybe not. And I don't think I bought anything that day. If I did, it was something very small. So maybe like a cup or like a ring, or maybe I got nothing. Like I don't think I got anything that day. But then maybe like a week or a couple days later, I was like, okay, I think I would get this exotic shoe. So when I went back to the store, we placed my order for my exotic shoe, and you don't have to pay for the full thing, so you only pay for half of it. And so I paid my deposit, you know, we chit-chatted, and like I said earlier, her and I, we talk about things that have nothing to do with Hermes. Like, she knows my personal business, she knows about my love life, she knows about people I've dated, like stories about with guys that it's not working out, or things that different guys have done, or like, and I know some things about her as well. And we have like real conversations about life, dating, religion, like our parents' family, like we talk about real life, which is why I said, like, even though I'm aware that this is a business, you know, dynamic, I feel like she's a good person and she sees that I'm a good person and that we do have a connection. That is like a real friendship connection. Even though, like I said, you still have to acknowledge that it is a business transaction, so I do acknowledge that. But like I said, we talk about so many things other than that. So, and even before my trip, I was in there talking with her for almost maybe an hour or 2. Like, we really talk as friends. So, you know, I got my shoes, you know, we were chit-chatting, you know, the usual. And the next day, she gave me a call, and she was like, and I was not expecting this because I was going to LA literally the next day. And I was like, I was just shocked because when I was just there the day before, she didn't say anything about a bag coming in for me. But a couple days before that, I do remember she was like, oh, I got a client a bag in Baton, like, it's pretty, look at that color. Like, it's because I gave her a list of colors to open myself up because, okay, I need to rewind a bit because I'm getting off track. Before I got the bag offer, okay, I'm getting disorganized. So about maybe after like 2 months or maybe 2.5 months of being consistent shopping, I was, as some of you may know, I'm a helicopter pilot, and I was about to take my check ride, and I had a feeling I would pass and become a pilot, and I really wanted to celebrate. So I was like, oh, I would love a Birkin 30 or 35 as a flight bag. And she was like, okay, we never talked about your wish list. And then I told her, and she's like, well, you know, the wait might be longer, so I don't know if we'll be able to celebrate with leather, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, you know, we'll just see. But after, you know, my flight stuff passed, like obviously I didn't get a bag, because looking back, it was only like a couple months into my relationship with the store, so I understand why I didn't get one just like instantly like that. So later on, she was like, I would tell her like, oh, you know, actually I changed my mind, I could do a Birkin 25, like I think a 25 would be a first good bag, and like I really wanted black and palladium hardware, so that was like the top of my list. And then around Christmas time, I was like, okay, I think I need to expand, because if I only do black and palladium, I'll be waiting forever. So I was like, okay, let me really think about some other colors. There's like a personal shopper and reseller at the Webster, and he has a Hermes edit that he had sent to me a while ago when I purchased something else, and the price is like a black mini Kelly and palladium is like starting at 44,000. So I wasn't gonna go through this reseller, but even looking at the options that he had like got me a little familiar with some Hermes colors. And I did a little bit of research, because when I was scrolling through what they had available, I automatically knew which colors I was drawn to and which ones I wasn't. So I sent her a pretty detailed list of everything that I saw and which hardwares would kind of work. And one thing that I said is I like whites and creams or light colors with gold. So if that came up, like I would be okay with that. And as I mentioned previously, like a couple days before I got my bag, she was like, oh, I got someone else a bag in the color Baton, like how do you feel about that color? It's like, it actually is really, really pretty, and da 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 da, like maybe you could add that to your list. And I was like, okay, like I'll look into it. And then shockingly, the next day, basically, well, not the next day from that conversation, but the next day after I placed the order for my exotic shoe, she called me, and she was like, it felt like it came out the blue, like I was literally in shock, like I was in shock. And you know, she was like, you know, we have a bag in the color Baton with gold hardware, like it's really pretty, it's a Birkin 25, like Togo leather, you know, you should come check it out. I immediately got up and like I went to the mall. As you guys saw, like I had on my jeans and a tee, like I literally wore the same thing that I had on all day. Like I just got up and left because I immediately wanted to go get her. So that's the story time about how I got this bag. And like I said, I really think it has to do with consistency and relationship. Like sometimes I would stop in and say hi even if I didn't buy anything, but I also don't want to, you know, put out a false narrative that I didn't, you know, have a good buying history, because I definitely did. So I think relationship is number one, buying history, and then consistency, or consistency and buying history are very close to each other on the scale of importance. So yeah, it was, you know, obviously it's amazing. You know, I've already talked to her about like what I would want my second Quota bag to be, but obviously a second Quota is not a guarantee. But I'm just gonna keep being consistent and see what happens. So yeah, and you know, I've already said this so many times, but the relationship is paramount. I feel like any person that does want to get a bag, of course, don't buy things you don't want, and also don't have an essay. Don't have an essay that you don't feel you would be friends with outside of the store. Like, if you can't hold a conversation about things that have nothing to do with Hermes with your essay, I think you should get a new essay. Because even when I was doing my research on YouTube, everyone that I see that's treated well and gets bags and gets offers, they feel the same way about their essay, unless maybe they're like a ultra spender or VIP, you know, or maybe they just got extra lucky. But I know for me, something I've seen consistently is that when you have a friendship dynamic, it's easier. That's not true for everyone, but it is true for a lot of people, especially like if you're going in by yourself, like starting your account from the ground up. So I think that it makes a difference, because even when I was in LA, I went to so my dentist in LA, or in Beverly Hills or whatever, his office is directly across from the Hermes. Like, I was watching the Hermes open up, the Beverly Hills Hermes open up, like every day from the chair that I was laying in for my dental work. So I went in there twice because I had 2 dental appointments when I was there. And Beverly Hills is obviously a very, very competitive store. There's ultra spenders. Like, there's people buying furniture at the LA store. But I connected with the SA there, and we talked about things that have nothing to do with Hermes. Like, absolutely nothing. And I feel like I made a good impression on him, not because I wanted to get a bag, but because I could tell that he was like a sweet, kind person, and I feel that he felt the same about me. And we talked about personal things, like his family, my family, you know, how we feel about certain cultures, and, you know, like we just had like nice conversation. And obviously it hasn't happened yet, so I can't say that this is a method to do something, but at the end of my last visit, as I was saying, at the end of my last visit, you know, he gave me a big hug. And during that last visit, he did let me know that certain Quota bags that are really, really hard to get, he would offer them to me. And I'm not saying that, well, I don't have that bag in my hand, so I'm not saying that it's gonna work out or I'm gonna get it, but the fact that he even offered, it was a huge deal, because, you know, it's just such a rare piece. And if I am able to get it, I'm of course going to be so lucky. And that offer didn't, in such a competitive store, didn't come about because I'm such a big spender, and I went in there on my first visit and bought a bunch of fine jewelry, a bunch of ready to wear. Like, I didn't go in and do that. Like, I just didn't. Like, I just went in and I was myself. And I did buy something. I got a Kelly belt. So that's not like, I got a Kelly belt and these twillies on the second visit, and I got the Kelly belt on the first visit. So I did buy like small things. Actually, I forgot, I bought the foundation too, which I could talk about later. But yeah, I bought like small beauty and little goods type of things. So it wasn't because like I'm a big spender. And he did show me some, like a Picotin. I didn't really want it that bad, so I was like, yeah, I'm okay on it. Like, I didn't just buy everything in sight. He could tell that I was only getting things that I actually would wear and use. So that's like that's just a huge factor, because it's like, that store is so competitive, and I feel like if I lived there, he would offer me a Quota bag at some point. And it's not just based on how much I spent, because no matter what, there is somebody spending more. Like, there's people at my store, they're buying the full Croc jumping boot. Like, it's a shoe for $40,000. So it's like, there's always going to be a bigger spender. But those bigger spenders, they also don't want the same bags as you if you're just starting out. So you can't really see it as competition or the only way to get a bag. I think it ultimately has to do with how real you are as a person, and how calm you can be, and can you be patient and forge genuine relationships. So that's basically all I have to say about this. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments, because I'd be more than happy to share. And good luck shopping. I know these videos are so helpful for me when I started out my journey, so I hope I could help. Thank you guys.